life's a beautiful thing as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I could ever let it go. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Staten Island, and welcome to the Al Lambert Show. I say that all the time because the show is on at various times, both in the morning and the evening, and sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning. So just in case, I want to cover my bases. The Al Lambert Show is a derivative of my dad's show, Dom Lambert Show, which was in the late 80s and 90s here at CTV. He got me involved in this, and every time, once in a while I yell at him because of it, but it's really a ton of fun, and we have a great crew here. So each show is dedicated to the memory of my mom and my dad, and particularly my dad for getting me here. And as an incidental mention, the street of Harbor Road and Forest Avenue is now also called Dom Lambert Way, after my dad, because he was on the community board here in Staten Island and North Shore in particular, and he fought like hell, as we say, for the betterment of the North Shore of Staten Island. So salute to you, Dad. 2 days ago, it would have been his anniversary and my mom's. It would have been close to 68 years, I think they would have been married. So salute to that. And the show was devised or thought about as a people who help people. The whole idea of the show, for the most part, well, there were two premises. One is I always try to bring people on that do good work in the community and that help people do good work. And the second part was to support, maintain, and always talk about live music, which in today's world is really, really diminishing. So those were the two premises that I started the show. I have this young lady, I've spoken enough, I have this young lady sitting next to me, and she's got a quite an interesting thing going on here. And her name is Arlene. Arlene, your last name? Sorkin. Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. And Arlene has an organization here, and I said I wasn't going to read it, but I'm gonna. She's the executive director of Illuminart Productions, which is a touring company of young actors and actresses who do arts education, tell me if I'm wrong, and educational plays.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did good. Is that a B plus or B?
Oh, that was an A.
That was an A. Okay.
Yeah.
So Arlene, tell me about this whole thing. How did this start? What was the whole thing behind it?
Well, I used to live in Michigan up until 10 years ago, and I actually started Illuminart Productions with a good friend of mine. I'm a social worker, and she is an actor and director. Her name's Patty Ceresny, and we started Illuminart as a way to combine social work and theater. And I have
interesting.
Yeah, and theater was always my hobby anyway. I love theater, and so we put those two together. And we decided to start with bullying and violence prevention plays. We went to Illusion Theater in Minneapolis, which is basically the pioneer in educational theater. In fact, they just won a National Theater Award for an outstanding theater. Happy about that. And so we licensed some of our plays from them. And since we really understood we learned what their process is, we started writing our own plays.
Wow.
So yeah, so our bullying and violence prevention pieces came from Illusion, but we also have written with students around Staten Island. Our thing is really about peer education. So we want to get the language of students so that we can teach that way.
Right, absolutely.
And so
speaking their vernacular.
Exactly. And so we actually were commissioned by Camp Good Grief of Staten Island to write a play that we perform at their camps, at their camp retreats.
That is terrific.
2 weekends a year, and it's really about young people who've lost a parent or a sibling. And
it's Irving and
Irving and Linda Steinman.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and so we've now performed that for several years at Camp Good Grief, and it's a way to get the kids to open up and talk more about the loss that they've had. Right. That's what we see this as. It's really a catalyst for helping people talk about their feelings, and also really for changing some of their behavior, especially when it comes to the bullying and violence.
The whole the sequence of events would be to talk about it, get the conversation going, and hopefully would have a positive effect.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we wrote a play called Truth in Excess, which is about the consequences of underage and excessive drinking, with Diane Zarega's Wagner High School theater students.
As I mentioned, she's a friend
Right.
of mine many years.
2 years ago, and we've been touring that now. And now we're back with the same group. They were sophomores then, now they're seniors. And they're writing a play with us about the dangers of prescription drugs and how they lead to the heroin epidemic that we unfortunately have on Staten Island.
Right, I know. I'm hearing a lot about that,
Yeah.
Well, it's not only on Staten Island, but I know Staten Island does have its percentages going.
It's a very, very big problem here.
Now, are you a teacher also? Were you a teacher?
Well, I'm a social worker. I actually
Okay.
do teach for Toro College, but that's a whole
oh,
other
okay,
thing.
that's a whole other thing. All right.
Yeah, but all of our actors in our company are teaching artists also.
Oh, I got you.
And so we, like I said, we write plays and now we teach people to write plays. So we have programs going on throughout the island. We have another write-a-play program going on at Petrides. We've actually been there for 5 years. They were our first school that we were in on Staten Island.
It's a great school.
Yeah, it's great. It's great because we have their high school students performing, and they perform for all the other children in the school because they're K
so
to
many
12.
levels. Yeah, so many levels, yeah.
They're writing some new pieces on bullying and violence prevention right now. And then we're at PS 57. We do an after-school program there, and we also do, and that actually is thanks to Debbie Rose, who
Love Debbie Rose.
Yes.
Debbie, we love you.
Yes, we do, because she just gave us another grant to do a cultural immigrant initiative. And we're going to be writing a new play about really to help, kind of people talk about immigration and refugees, which is a very hot topic right now.
Very, very hot.
And then we're able to take all of these plays that our touring company does to lots of schools on Staten Island. And that's actually thanks to Senator Lanza, who has really been helpful in supporting us with that. So we'll probably make it to at least probably 35 schools this school year. We've been to about 15 so far.
Terrific. Now, I sadly did not know about this until today. Getting the word out, this is really important, obviously.
Absolutely.
And, I'd love to have you speak at our Rotary Club.
Sure.
You would be a terrific guest speaker. I'm a member of South Shore Rotary.
Right.
And it's 40 years. I'm the longest standing member. Not necessarily the oldest, but I am 40 years in that club. And we have a terrific organization. And this would be something that would really be terrific for you to come and guest speak. And,
That'd be great.
And tell the group all about it. I have a degree in sociology.
Oh, really?
I wasn't a social worker. I'm in the automobile business and the entertainment business, but I did my BA is in sociology. My master's is in education. I only taught for a short time, but I did teach. So I have a feel for what you're doing here. This is really terrific stuff. Every once in a while I used to say, maybe I'll go back to teaching, but that's never going to happen.
Right.
Tell me about this particular event.
Okay, yeah. So we have our annual event coming up on Sunday, January 10th at the Staten, 5 o'clock. And it's a musical review, which benefits our youth programs.
What day is it? January 10th?
It's on a Sunday,
okay.
yes. And we're just praying for good weather, that the weather just holds out the way it is
I
right
know,
now.
Oh my God.
And we usually do our event in December, and we really wanted to include some of our alumni, because now a bunch of our students at various schools have graduated.
Right.
And so they're off from college
Right.
during this time, and they're going to come back and entertain with us. So we have like a cast of, I call it a cast of thousands, but it's about 30 people who do a musical review. It's mostly Broadway. We do some pop songs, but mostly Broadway. And it's all of our touring company, and it's
So
also
music is involved here. This is
it's a musical show.
Great.
It's a great show, and it's a show and dinner, so it's a bargain. We also are honoring Bobby DG, who's the president and CEO of Island Voice, because we've actually done some programs together, and he's done amazing work with youth empowerment on Staten Island. And Ralph Ogle, we've partnered several times on programs with the Pride Center of Staten Island, which advocates and provides services for the LGBT community. So we're also honoring one of our students, Mohammed Husari,
I see that.
is a student at Petrides. He's been in our program for 4 years there. And then this is the group that we wrote the play with.
This is a great picture of looking at before.
That was after a performance of Truth in Excess with our Wagner students. And so we're honoring them as an outstanding ensemble.
It's terrific. Absolutely terrific. Diane's son used to be in one of the major soap operas.
Yeah, he was in
Tommy
All My
Siracusa.
Children. Yeah.
That's it. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still around, All My Children, but
No,
a couple
it's
of them
not.
are down.
Yeah.
And my former piano player was with one of them, became the music director for another one that just they stopped it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So that thing has kind of changed. There's 2 left, I think, and I think they're on the West Coast. Maybe 1 in New
Right.
York and 2 on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But she did some great work. Well, I'm very impressed. We'll talk a little bit more. I know we have the performances for the
Yes,
girls.
sure.
And we'll get started when you
Okay.
do it.
This scene is from a play called What Goes Around, and it's violence prevention for students who are grades 6 and up. And it covers, we call it our teen angst play, because it covers every topic you can imagine that teens deal with. And our 3 touring company members here today are Valerie Pinilla, who is acting as our moderator. We do the scenes, there's always moderation so that we can give a little more information. We have Erica DeJulio and Jessica Maldonado.
Okay, girls.
No one has the right to force or trick anyone else into sexual contact. Let's hear what happened to Sandra.
When I was 12, this happened to me. So, I lived down the street from this new boy who moved in, Robert. He would come over and we would play cards and video games, watch TV. He wasn't my boyfriend. He was just a friend. And so, one day over the summer, he came over to watch a movie. And we were goofing around, and then he went into the kitchen to go grab a soda or something. And he said, "Come here, I want to show you something." And so I followed him in. And then he shut the door behind me. And he started pushing me around and calling me names. And I said, "Wait a second. What are you doing?" And he said, "Come on, you know you've been playing me." And then he ripped my shirt open and tried to grab me, and I just screamed for him to stop, and I just said, "Just go, please, just get out of here. Just don't hurt me." And then, finally, he left. And all I could keep thinking was, did I do something to provoke this?
What happened to Sandra is called sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is when someone forces or tricks you into touch or sexual contact that you do not want. It can happen to both boys and girls. It is never the victim's fault. What happened to Sandra was not her fault.
When my mom and stepdad got home, I told them about what happened, and my stepdad called the police. And my mom told me that I had done nothing wrong, that Robert was responsible. And now I'm in this group of girls who've also experienced sexual assault or rape. And the group has girls from all over. And that's where I met Carol. Hey.
When I was 14, I was touched by a counselor at my camp.
It helped me to know that there were other girls who'd experienced something like I did, that I wasn't the only one.
So one day in group, we were discussing anger.
I was angry at Robert, angry at myself.
And I was angry at the camp and angry at the man who took advantage of me.
And so we started to list all of the things that we could do with our anger, and the first thing I thought of was finding Robert and messing him up really bad.
You're breaking in the windows to his house.
Or slashing his tires.
Or taking it out on my friends and family.
Or myself.
But then Stephanie,
our group leader, she asked what else could we do with our anger that wouldn't hurt ourselves or anybody else.
So we organized these speak outs where we would talk to women and younger girls about what happened to us.
Yeah, we kept thinking of ways that we could channel our anger into action.
And from that point on, I swore that no friends, no punks in the hallway, and especially no boyfriends would call me any sexual names or any 4-letter words.
Yeah, and then Pat, she's 15, she suggested that we all take kickboxing together to better learn how to defend ourselves.
And what did we name our group? It was
So,
RRW, Rude Real Women.
nothing artificial.
Big, fat, small, and tall.
Real women with real bodies who are mouthy,
Sassy,
spunky,
and who can say no and mean it. And who could say yes.
yes. And we deserve nothing less than respect.
Respect.
Sexual assault or rape is when someone forces or tricks you into sexual contact that you do not want. It is a criminal violation. It can happen to both boys and girls, and it is never the victim's fault.
They really were terrific.
We're very proud of them, yeah.
Yeah, you should be. They articulate, the acting, the emotion. I was pleasantly surprised, And it is hard in the studio because you don't have the audience in the back,
Right.
cheering you on.
Well,
and,
yeah. Actually, usually they've got either really noisy elementary school kids or
Right.
kind of wisecracking.
It is
Right.
business.
Uh-huh.
It is business. That's why they call it show business.
Right,
So a
right.
portion of it, if you're doing in concert and people are talking, that's aggravating if they're sitting in seats because
Right.
that means you must really be bad
Right.
because they're staring at you. They don't want to listen to you.
Right. But there are parts, especially when, the time when Erica is doing her monologue and talking about what happened, that you could hear a pin drop.
Right,
You know,
and I can
it's-
see that.
it's silent, yeah.
It's silent. Well, that's a very, very emotional thing that she does there, and she does it very well.
Yeah,
so,
and
they
as
all do.
in terms of business, we're a nonprofit. Of course, we get our funds from state and city
Sure,
agencies,
which is
Department
great.
of Cultural Affairs, and the Staten Island Foundation actually has been really the most supportive to us. So we're honoring them too.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. Listen, we're very lucky on Staten Island because we do have some sympathetic foundations who help us all, and they're involved in the community themselves. They,
Yes.
and Staten Island is about community, which is a terrific thing, and one of the reasons why I love it. I'm a big fan of Staten Island. I sell it to everybody.
Right.
But I moved to Jersey 10 years ago. They wanted to shoot me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And
I
say hello to
appreciate it.
David. He's a
I will.
terrific guy. All right? Thank
Thanks.
you. So I'm here with my next two guests, and they are two very nice up people. Our last guest, those girls, they did a terrific job, and the whole Illuminart production group was great. And now I have another group involved in a movie, actually, and other things that they do. And I have Sal Rinella. Hey, Sal.
Hey, Al.
Hey, good to see you.
Hello.
Caroline, how are you?
Hey Al, thanks for
Hey,
having
Caroline.
us.
Hey,
Sal.
cha-cha-cha. Nice to meet you.
Groucho Marx.
The secret password. Speaking of the secret password, I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, thank you.
We want to give you a nice early Christmas gift
Oh.
from Caroline, myself, and the rest of the team. It's
very
it's
nice.
a nice CD that I did called Cocktails and Conversations.
Now, are you a musician?
I'm also a musician.
What do you
yes.
play, Sal?
I play guitar, bass, sing, little
I
drums,
didn't know that.
little keyboard.
Well, this is great.
Yeah.
I'll listen to this on the outer bridge.
Enjoy it. This way, when you're escaping and making your way back to Jersey, and you're trying to put Staten Island in the back of your mind, listen.
Just for a while.
I know you sell it during the day, 9 to 5.
You're right.
Hey, Staten Island, it's the place. But
I sleep in Jersey.
5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, Mama wants you back in Jersey.
You want to die laughing. Because I don't get community television, I would have to come to my sister's to see the show. But
Can't
now
pay
it's
for
on
cable?
Can't pay for cable. Like in Jersey, you can't get Staten Island cable.
No.
So now you can watch this show also, I think, possibly on YouTube.
YouTube,
yes.
Ustream.
Right, it's something.
Ustream, ice cream,
right,
Ustream for ice cream.
That's
yeah.
it.
It's all over the place.
It's all over. So
Thank
let's
God
talk
for the
about what
internet.
we're doing here. Let's talk about your production company and the movie Good Friday. Let's talk
Well, we
about
have a production company called Pegasus Films and Entertainment.
that. Right, okay.
And we also have the Good Friday Films.
Okay.
We got two companies.
Okay.
But right now,
And Caroline is
Carol
also
is part of all of them.
part of all.
And also the
Because you're a writer, producer, actor.
right,
She's a model, actress,
Yes, Al?
etc.
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 etc. Listen, the cool thing about what we do is like stars in the sky, connected to celebrities like what they do in Hollywood. The sky is the limit. Anything and everything you want to do. We're making a film that we're part of, which is really a vehicle for us to be in front of the camera.
Right.
But since we've studied other things, we take what we've studied and we put it in front of the camera, like the background. We find the locations, we find the actors,
Right.
we fine-tune the script.
It's
right? What would
it's
you
a
say?
the whole
Full-blown,
full thing.
full thing. I mean,
And when
it's
you
vaudeville in front of the camera.
vaudeville in front of the camera, but it's great. Now, what is this movie about, Caroline? Tell me a little bit about this movie.
Well, it's about a priest who comes to America, Father Nellie Bello, which is played by Sal Rinella.
Boy, that has a nice ring to it.
I like it. Yeah. Nellie
And,
Bell was the Jeep that on Roy Rogers, but that's the story of another. But go ahead.
And during a comedy show, he insults two mob families and starts a mob war, but they put a hit out on the priest.
You believe that?
It's hysterical.
very good.
It's very funny. He's a gifted, brilliant comedian, actor, director. I couldn't keep a straight face on the set.
Right.
I mean, I'm laughing for real
Well,
there.
this is great. That's
We got to work with many, many actors, including Federico from The Sopranos.
okay.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Castelluccio.
That's it.
Okay.
And
He played Furio.
Okay.
Furio.
Great.
And Cha-Cha was also, God rest his soul, he filmed the trailer with us, which we're dedicating the trailer to him
And the short.
in the short.
Right. That's terrific. That's a great premise.
It's a great premise.
It's a great premise.
It's a great premise.
And Father Monagot.
I like that.
I like
That's
that.
only
We should
if it's
write
on
that in
Staten
there.
Island.
Don Goshen, Lord.
Sister Monagot. Yeah.
There you go. Listen, the script won an award. It's great by itself, but listen, we love throwing in a couple of potatoes and tomatoes and meatballs and
listen,
manigot and.
That's the funny thing. Staten Island gets a bad rap. It really does because it
little
has a
bit.
large Italian population. But the truth
I
of
filmed in Staten Island. I love it here.
Yeah, listen. There's a movie, a commercial, or a television show being filmed almost every week or every day on Staten Island.
How do we get part of that?
in different locations?
Uncle,
and you
Cousin Vinny, get in on it.
Cousin Vinny. All
Make
you
a
have to
few
do,
calls.
you probably have to get involved and see.
Well,
online
listen, we've
where
got
it
our
is,
own stuff.
Of course, I'm just saying, but there are things
there's
constantly
things going on.
Constantly going on
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Staten Island.
Well, same as anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. Lady Gaga, I think, was it Lady? Yeah, she did her last video or one of her videos at Snug Harbor. And I also heard, I know a former person from Snug Harbor is here, about a year or so ago, this fellow drove into Snug Harbor, knocked on the door, and he wanted to speak to the executive director. And apparently the director or someone came out and said, "What's your name?" He looked and then realized, he said, "My name is Steven." It was Steven Spielberg. He came to Snug Harbor to look at the location. So there are things going on constantly on Staten Island. Al Pacino did 3 movies on Staten Island. He did Scent of a Woman,
No kidding.
The Godfather,
Godfather, that of course.
Absolutely.
and then of course he did not only Scent of a Woman, The Godfather, and Donnie Brasco. A couple of scenes during the movie, and the last scene was filmed by the Marina Cafe in the water on that
We have
boat.
a guy from Donnie Brasco.
You have, really? Okay.
Tony Ray Rossi, Danielle's
Oh, yeah,
cousin.
yeah.
Danielle's
Okay.
cousin.
I know
Listen,
Danny, actually.
Oh,
Danny
really?
and I, yeah.
Yeah, we've spoken.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of great people on Staten Island.
Mm-hmm.
Through the years, I've stayed here many nights. I've actually been on this show or this studio many times. There's a lot of creative guys.
Yep.
I've done different things for different people. I have different clients from. Hey, it's a great place.
It's a great place.
It's a great
And
place.
like I say, it gets
It's changed a
me.
little bit, but that's,
It has to.
the world has changed.
Everybody changes. I mean, what was New York 300 years ago?
It's not anymore.
It's not anymore. Everything changes.
Exactly. If you watched was it Gangs of New York?
I
and
love
thinking
that
that's
movie.
New York today,
I mean, forget about it.
forget about it.
Forget about it. Now,
Scordatilo, per capisce se
you're in the production stage. You're in the finding the stage where I'm assuming filming this, okay, where you actually go out and get investors. Is that how it kind of works?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
We're having.
'Cause I know about this because
I'm sure you've
yeah.
done it.
Yeah.
Put up a show, right?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
150 of them in my career.
I have to tell you, I've produced over 1,000 live events myself or more.
Right.
Somebody has to put up a couple of scarolas.
That's exactly
So,
right.
or a couple of balloons, as my dad used to say. So right now we're in the process of taking the teaser and the short. We're actually editing the short. I just got some of the footage back today. Looks fantastic. And so what we're doing is packaging it together for investors. We're having different people represent us talking to investors and distributors, and we'll see what's happening. We're getting different. We've gotten some offers on the table, some good offers.
Good.
And
That's
we're
great.
going to have to start all over again because, like I said, Cha-Cha died. We didn't get enough footage to do only a short. So now we're going to have to find new castmates and
redo it, refilm.
Yeah, so that's why we need.
Yeah, it's
we're
part
in
of the game.
Yeah,
It's part of
exactly.
the game. Now, Caroline, I know you do some modeling too. I mean, you've done lots of things. Give me a little.
I've done a lot of print
Give
ad
me a little
modeling.
resume here on what's going on with you.
I do a lot of print ad modeling for companies. They'll hire me to promote their products. I have an extensive portfolio on Facebook, which is, believe it or not, where I get my gigs from.
There's no question.
I've run a big
Facebook
blog
is-
for many, many, many years, so I have my own audience going already, which will be coming live soon to everyone.
Good. That's a great thing.
That's another project we're working on. I'm also a co-host, he's the host of a new talk show. It's called Pizza Talk.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. Tell me
And,
about it.
which we
You
I've
really
liked-
talk about pizza?
No, we talk about
It's just like coffee talk.
You're making me hungry.
Linda Richmond, let me throw out a subject and talk among yourself.
Oh, okay. I
Coffee
got-
talk,
all right,
you know.
okay.
We talk about anything
Pizzas,
and
right.
everyone. It's a little
Okay.
raw. It's in the Howard Stern realm, but it's
Okay.
very funny.
Okay.
I am the co-host that introduces everyone like they're Vanna White.
Right,
I
right.
wear pretty dresses and introduce everyone, and I love doing it. We aired
fun,
Friday for
great.
the first time, and it was very, very funny.
Now, where do you do it?
We
West Babylon. It
record
records in West
out
Babylon.
of Twisted Sisters Studio. Mark the Animal Mendoza is one of our producers, along with Frankie D, the Real Radio Show. Dan Romano and Sal Rinella are the host. I am the co-host along with Richard Kern. And we have very good chemistry together. The three gentlemen and
Right.
myself, we seem to blend together like a good recipe. So, we got something good going, and
wonderful.
we're gonna see how far we could go. Hopefully, very far.
Hopefully, very.
We've already gotten other offers for other things. We'll see how it goes. Listen, Frankie D, who I've known for 20-something years, who's had a radio show for about 10 years on the Real Radio Show, walked into Frankie's East Side Gourmet Pizza that's owned by Dan Romano. Dan said a few funny things. He goes, "You should have a radio show." And he says, "Listen, if I do a show, I'm going to need a co-host." And then Frankie says, "You should try Sal. He's been on my show many times, and he knows what he's doing."
And
that's when we brought in Caroline. Dan brought in Richard, and the whole thing
Grows and
it
grows
grows like
and
that.
grows and grows.
We have a nice little chemistry, and
It's a good thing.
yeah.
The drummer from Twisted Sister.
I know from Staten Island, AJ Perro.
AJ, a friend of mine, terrific guy.
Oh, a great guy. Listen,
Great guy.
When
I
Frankie
was
started the
upset.
show, AJ Perro was his co-host, and I was on the show many times with them. Matter of fact, one time they needed a studio and they used my home studio. So there's pictures on Facebook of me and AJ. What a wonderful drummer.
Great
wonderful
drummer,
person.
great guy.
Great guy.
Oh my God!
He put me on the list one night. I went to see them at Irving Plaza, right in front. I mean, Twisted Sister is one of my favorite bands. The cool thing is, we got our first person we get to interview is Mark the Animal Mendoza, who's the bass player from Twisted Sister, right?
That's funny.
And the funny thing is, we're interviewing him, and we're asking him very pointed questions. And he's admitting to things on the radio that he's never said before about Kiss, Twisted Sister, being in the band, the Dictators, hanging out with Motley Crue and Heather Locklear. And Frankie, who's producing the show, comes on and goes, "Listen, Sal, what do you think you are, Oprah Winfrey? This is a comedy show. Rip the guy apart a little bit." So when they brought him back out, we started ripping him apart. I don't want to say on your show what we said, but
Right.
listen,
yeah.
these are great guys. And
the funny thing is, off air.
And gals.
Yeah. Mark tells me, that's true, a lot of good gals on the show. Mark tells me he's not a rock star like other rock stars. He's not into drugs, drinking, promiscuity. He's had the same friends since high school.
Right.
And the funny thing is, when we did our first show, I brought two of my high school buddies, right? Brian,
That
Gabriel.
you were.
Yeah, that are my buddies for years.
Right.
And Rosario. And the funny thing is, I say, Mark, these are my two buddies from high school. They love Twisted Sister. And they both rattled off how many times they've seen the bands, which actually was good for me. Imagine if they just sat there and go,
Right.
oh, we never saw you guys.
Right, right. Well, Johnny Maestro was living in West Babylon.
Oh, that's another great singer.
Yeah, he passed.
Johnny,
right, yeah. His brother and I went to school, so I knew Johnny over the years through
Another
Ronnie,
great singer,
terrific singer. And he was living in Florida toward the end, and the last year of his life, he lived on Staten Island with his brother, brother Ronnie, terrific guy, the whole family. And but they did have a service out in West Babylon for him, and
really?
it was a private service.
Because there's a funeral, a cemetery, unless was he buried out there?
I don't think so. I think he was.
They just did a service.
Right, they did a service because he had been living there for
okay.
a while. So I went out there. First time I mean,
a lot of
went to all
Italiana out there.
Yes, yeah, and that was his hometown for a while. So that's where it
Makes
was.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Service was
That's where Captain
incredible.
Kangaroo is from, around that
Oh yeah,
area.
Bob something. What was his
Bob
name?
Kershaw.
Something like that. Yeah.
Coleslaw? Bob
never
Coleslaw?
watched Bob.
Hold on,
Coleslaw,
is-
that's it.
I never
Bob
watched
Ball's gonna
Captain
fall on his
Kangaroo.
Bob something, Kirshner? I don't know if- I can't think
Hold
of
on.
his
If I say it right or wrong, a ping pong ball's going
Right.
to fall on me.
You know, his first job was Clarabelle.
Yeah, Clarabelle.
On Howdy Doody.
Howdy
show.
Doody, yeah.
That was his first job.
Interesting, right?
We have this down.
Don't
man.
ask me what's my first job. We've had so many. And we've had so many
Right.
trying to get to where we're going.
Right. Well,
We have
it
to.
takes, focus and never give up.
Never.
Persistence on a given
Persistence,
course
focus,
gives
Consistency
success.
and
Right.
consistency.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
how
what
I
you
work
need.
it out.
And the strong will.
Right. And you have to believe in your product, and if you have a good product, it works.
You'll see in our teaser.
Yeah.
Your fans will
Right.
tell us.
We're going to put that on in about
Yeah,
half a
totally.
minute because we're down time,
Yeah, it's all right.
and
We're getting there.
we're going to put it on, and but we'll say goodbye before we put it on because after I say goodbye, we'll put it on. Well,
Yeah.
this was great. I
Listen,
have to say that.
Thank you for
this
having
was
us.
terrific. And I'm glad you came, and we'll see how this goes. We could do this again a few months from now. You see how it's going.
When the
and-
short is out,
yeah, we'll
done.
we'll get a short, and we'll present it again.
Maybe when
And,
pizza talks about pizza, we'll bring some pizza.
We'll come
you
with
bring
a
some
pizza pie in
My
February.
favorite pizza, and I have a lot of friends making pizza on Staten Island, but I'm a big Donino's fan. I grew up there.
Where's that?
It's on the North Shore of Staten Island. It's it was top 5 pizza places in New York City for almost
We'll
20
find it
years.
for
yeah.
you.
It's called Donino's. And,
Donino's.
Donino's.
Oh,
But there are
Donino's.
Staten Island. There.
Lots of places.
Oh, the pizza.
Staten, Italy. You
It
got
is Staten,
pizza.
Italy.
You
When it
know
comes
I'm
to
new
pizza,
here to
forget-
Staten Island.
Well,
I
I'll
just
give you the
came
list
here
of the
from
top
Brooklyn.
10. I mean, Joe and Pat's, Lee's Tavern, these brothers in Tottenville, John's on.
Do they
we have
top
some great.
Spumoni Gardens?
Well,
on
Spumoni
86th
Gardens,
Street.
everybody talks about that. I've had it once, and it is pretty good. But they don't use mozzarella.
No, they do. Do you know what the secret is?
No.
They put the mozzarella underneath the sauce.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's
because
the
They
secret.
had a secret.
Uh-oh.
A
Yeah.
big dark secret.
Delicious,
I
too.
just found out the
Delish.
secret. But it is good. There's no question.
It's the only pizza I really eat.
There's no question. But
When I find a good pizza, I stick with it.
yeah.
Once in a while, you find somewhere where they put sesame seeds in the crust or
Yeah.
something.
That's getting in the village now, that fancy schmancy
is
pizza.
really it. They sell more pizza in New York than they do in Italy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sal, pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Al.
This was great.
It was great.
Caroline,
Thank you so
for
much,
coming
Al.
to the show.
Thank
Caroline,
you very
thank
much.
again.
Hey, thank you. Hey. We're going to show that trailer, and stick around after the trailer. I have another terrific, interesting guest.
Gio,
Yeah.
you know what you're here for, right?
Yeah. You want me to take care of the priest, right?
How you gonna do it?
Do anything you want. I can strangle him, I can pick him through the top of the head, or, I can just poke him in the eyes with something, I don't know, shoot him in the balls.
That sounds all good. Most of all, I want you to unite
Unimate him? What?
Unify him.
Humiliate.
That's English. You already said?
Humiliate.
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 Humiliate. That's right.
Since I met you, I feel fine.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back to church and confess, along comes Father Bello.
I'm a Father Anello Bello. I'm new to the dialysis.
No secret is safe, not even the mobs.
That was Gio. Gio's with us. Who's this clown? This guy gets on my nerves. Who are you calling a clown? I'm getting tired of you. Oh, get it! Oh, baby, beats! Oh my God!
Hey,
Oh!
if you want to know what's good for you, just keep an eye on your back, okay?
You make me see the world.
Right? It's my park. He's a priest. He's not gonna let you play here. Come on. Boss, what do you want me to do?
Thank you, guys.
Teaching this kid the ropes.
Take care of punks like that.
No. To take care of a priest like this.
That's so nice.
We're gonna throw one hell of a shindig!
The critics say religiously entertaining.
Can you hold this for a minute? This real lamb skin. Give me a second.
Brings your faith back in movies. The best vote since the last poll.
Yeah, take it easy. He's all right.
How's he smell?
You know what? I gotta tell you, he smells pretty good.
Of course, he smells good. Deja vu all over
Smell
again.
nice.
He smells good.
When you two guys eating your ice cream again, we'll talk about a cassette.
Father Bello, you have to listen to me. Your ways with these people down here, it's not working for this parish at all. You understand me? I'm serious.
I will, Father Exterior. Thank you. Bye-bye, Father Exterior.
So I hope you enjoyed our last guest in that movie trailer. Now I have my next guest for this wonderful December taping of the Al Lambert Show, the effervescent and vivacious reunion of Al Lambert and Jaclyn Tacoronte. Jaclyn.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, it's great to see you.
Thank you so much. I feel like this is the Real Housewives of Staten Island audition. Yes, I'm a wife now. Yes.
I know you're a wife and you have a kid since the last time.
Two babies,
Yeah.
not twins, but baby, my newborn son, beautiful little Romano Pepper.
Is that his name?
Well, his name's Roman, but I call him Romano Pepper. He's
cute?
adorable. He is.
Oh my God, do you have a picture? You gotta show me
Well,
later,
I
yeah.
will. I'll show you later.
Okay, yeah.
He's a good one. And I also gave birth to my business as well.
Oh, we're both in things
Both
now.
new. And
Right,
so
what's yours? What are you doing now?
So I opened up my own company back in January. It's
Great.
called JMT Media. And
Great.
so we specialize working with small businesses and nonprofits, specifically in PR, marketing, and design. But every project we work with are what we call passion projects. There's a team of 4 of us. And a lot of the organizations that we work with are Illuminati Productions. You know, some of the content that they bring to is about social and justice issues. Yeah, it is.
A combination. Actually, almost what I do on the show here, because I'm always talking about live music, and I'm always talking about not-for-profits and people who help people.
Exactly.
So you actually designed your business
around
to
that.
be around that. That
Yes.
is a terrific. That's how I felt about doing this show. I didn't want to do a show just for the sake of doing a show. It had to have some sort of a purpose.
Exactly.
You know, and now you're doing that. You know, that is
I have
terrific
to give
concept.
Thank you. I have to give a shout out. So Jesse, hopefully you're videotaping this. It's my mother's birthday today, right?
Oh, isn't that great?
And the reason why I started this, even going from the for-profit advertising world into the nonprofit sector, is my sister Julianne. She's 37 years old and she's MR and she's legally blind. And so growing up, our entire lives, we spent weekend after weekend volunteering with Special Olympics Olympics and several nonprofits within our community in San Antonio, Texas. So you'll hear that twang come out.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you
I
hear
do
me,
hear that
right? You
once
hear
in a
that
while.
y'all and everything. So yeah, our business model is to help businesses because in working in Staten Island for the past 3 years, I've learned that the only way that you're going to flourish as a business is to really connect and understand with what's going on in the community.
And be a part of it.
And you have to be a part
work for the part of it.
You have to put your money where your mouth is, and I
Right.
did. I bought a house. Can't tell you the street, but it's right by Snug Harbor.
Okay.
My husband will kill me because I'm always putting everything on social media and on TV.
Well, nothing wrong. Livingston is the area, right?
Yes,
Right,
yes.
Livingston.
And beautiful home, and I love it.
One of
There's
the older homes there?
One of the older homes. It's a perfect place for
Those homes
lots
have
of character. But the best part is I've commissioned an artist that I actually met through one of my clients, Staten Island Arts. She's a Colombian artist. Her name is Lina Montoya. And I've commissioned her to do 3 murals in our home. So our home isn't just a home. It's almost
work
like
of art.
It's a work of art. So
That is terrific.
So
You-
every
you have-
nook
you
and
have that
cranny,
down.
I have that
Great.
down. You know,
Yes.
I really try.
The combination of art,
Yes.
community, business.
And you have to give
agree.
back to the
I agree.
community. And my mom just really taught that to me as a child. And so growing up, I just wanted to really expand upon that. And so my team, there's a team of 4 of us. We are all Staten Islander. I don't know if I'm considered a Staten Islander because I moved
Well,
here.
we're going to give you
but-
special Staten Island status. You're now, when you die in the advance, and everybody knows, they put Native Islander. You don't get Native Islander, but you will get lived on Staten Island.
Lived on Staten, paid taxes on Staten.
Exactly. They'll give you a little section there.
So yeah, the company, we have 4 part-time staff members, and each of them lives and works on Staten Island as well, and they're all part of the arts culture scene. And so it's really great to work with people that are in my community.
Right.
We're giving back to the community all day and every day, so it's good.
Yeah, you're
It's
another
good.
person that should come and speak to our Rotary Club and tell them about your business concept, because
thank you.
it's a business plus. It's not just a business, it's a business and helping people who help people. So I think that is terrific, and our Rotary guys and girls should know about that.
Well,
how you thought about that, you know. Again, it's not a commercial about me, but I got, when I joined Rotary 40 years ago.
Hold on, I need a moment. I need to subtract that. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'll tell you precisely. But I was, Tom Rubicki, who was a lawyer on Staten Island, was in my band. And we were friends since we were kids. And he says, I had already been raising money and doing community things. He said, you'd be a great Rotarian. He said, because that's what Rotary does. It's service above self. And he took me and I became a Rotarian. And I've been in it in April, it'll be 40 years.
Congratulations.
And I can't believe it. And we have close to 70 members. I'm the longest standing member. I may not necessarily be the oldest, but I've been in the club the longest.
That's a long time,
And
40 years. Wow.
40 years. And Rotary is an amazing thing because the whole reason for its existence is to help others. You network, but it's a subscript. In Rotary, you certainly network because you're meeting all these terrific business people and people from all walks of life. We've had priests and reverends and, but you're...
Why do you have to focus on the religious part, priests and reverends?
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm politically incorrect, which seems to be the way of the day. And anyway, P.S., that's what we do.
But you also, I read in the paper in the advance, like this big old, if you haven't gotten the advance, I do love, I love every day, but I love the Thursday section because it has the awe section.
Yes,
I
I
love
like
the
that
Sunday
too.
section because there's so many stories.
So
and
many
one of them
stories.
I read was about you and your new business.
Yes, that was
so
nice,
what?
yeah.
Okay, what's going on with that?
Well, real
Because,
quickly, because I
yeah.
don't belabor it, but I went on my own, which I have 50 years of clients. It was a no-brainer, and I'm located at A to Z Leasing on Page Avenue, and it's terrific, bunch of guys we all left the same company, similar, like we have other people, but we were all independent brokers in a house where we can, it's like when they do a jewelry exchange, all the different jewelers, so we're all in one room, and I work with some terrific people. I have to say hello to Alex, Hector, Miguel, and Lana.
Hola.
Right. Okay. And
¿Cómo
Matt.
estás?
Okay. And
Hey,
we
Matt.
all gel together. It's a
good.
terrific spot, And so I'm independent, yet I have people around me, And for me, it was a no-brainer because of my years in
business.
business and the community. You know, I am the luckiest guy in the world. 53 years in music, 51 years in the car business, and 40 to 45 years in community service.
Whew.
You know, if you add it all up, I'm doing stuff for 140 years. But one thing I noticed about you, which is that you came to Staten Island and you got it. A lot of people come and they don't get it. So you immediately got involved. You immediately felt the heartbeat.
You know, there's a few reasons why. So, like I said, I'm from Texas,
Right.
San Antonio to be precise, or we
Right.
say San Anto. And it's all about community.
Right.
And so when I moved to Austin to get my master's, Austin, Texas was going through the same development and arts burgeoning scene that the St. George area is going through.
Oh.
So when all of this was starting at the inception, whether you like it or not, like it really reminded me of everything that was going on in Texas 10, 15 years ago. Festivals that go on, big business boom. And so to me, it was a no-brainer for me to move from Manhattan to move to Staten Island.
Right.
I was commuting for about 2 years. That was a rough commute.
Yeah, that is.
And then I decided, you know, after I met my husband, that it was time to buy a home and to be really vested in the community. And it was the best decision. One day I was like, oh, it's Saturday.
That's
My
so
child
funny.
woke me up at 5 a.m. Let me
that
go and get
is
some
so
breakfast.
funny.
I walked in and I see a thunder and a donut. I'm like, oh, hello. Oh, no.
I saw a girl today, you know, that people are into this, the clothes that actually look like pajamas. And this girl was running in the store on Guyan Avenue this morning. And I had an early meeting, so I got the new door up around 7:30. And she was going to the store, and not only did she have pajamas on,
Oh, no.
the tag was sticking. So I said, now, here you go.
Aw.
You know, this was real. I was.
You were about to videotape. You were about to pull a Jaclyn social media.
Oh my God! But it was just funny, you know, because I'm always, like I say, I'm always selling Staten Island, so there's no way I was going to take that picture and put it on Facebook.
So
well, that's the other
we
side.
Well, she makes me go to like a Christmas tree store. There's that Arthur.
Oh yes, there you go.
So see,
Okay.
I know.
So you're right on the money. Well, if you go right down to Arthur, coming out of the Christmas Tree Shopping Center, you make a right, then you make a left, and you're heading into Tottenville along Arthur Kill Road. There's an area there that I allegedly 2 stories, 3 stories about it already. It's about 16 acres, and they're going to put a hotel and a shopping center right on the water, which would be overlooking the outer bridge. Then there's the movie studio. I haven't heard much about it, but that's the Broadway Stages from Brooklyn.
I haven't heard too much about it. I mean,
It was said it was
about a year ago. It was
yeah,
like
it
a nice.
was
There was a
done deal,
buzz.
but I haven't seen the shovel in the ground.
I haven't seen it, but you know, one of the things I'm learning is development takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot
you
of
know,
time.
there's
And rules, laws.
rules, laws, city,
Right.
committee boards,
and money. Sometimes they got the funding. They're packaging the funding, trying to put the funding together. Somebody says yes, all of a sudden it falls through. You didn't have this piece of paper. I mean, it happens.
forgot to file
even,
this
even in the car
document,
business.
yeah.
We went to get a mortgage about 2.5 years ago. We moved from one place to another, and the amount of paperwork that we had to get for a mortgage, it was this high. Proof 3 deep.
Oh.
Now, in other words, this proves that you had a mortgage. Well, I also going to need something else from that same mortgage. Get that. Well, to tell you the truth, I need a third. Well, now you got 3 pieces of proof that I had this mortgage. Plus, everything was 3 and 4 deep. All the proofs, for want of a better word, that we had to supply to get this mortgage.
Oh, I believe you.
10 years ago, before that big mess, all you had to do was show up, breathe on glass. There was a little haze. You got the mortgage. You know, and not that that was right, but the pendulum swung. So putting funding together for all these big
projects, yeah.
it's a mega. It's all mega. You know, I get it. You know, but I just hope they all come to fruition and it helps Staten Island.
I think, you know, I'm certainly not a speaker on behalf of anyone, but as a Staten Island resident and a business owner, now I can say I pay taxes.
You pay taxes.
I pay taxes as a business owner.
Right.
You know, all of these are wonderful initiatives. And as a business owner, I hope that all businesses contribute to the existing community and existing climate, and everyone learns to work well with each other.
Right.
I, for one, am excited for everything that's about to happen.
Me too. I wish I was 10 years younger.
I mean, I know there's other issues that people like to talk about, and about traffic, et cetera. And yes, those are very
issues.
valid.
They are
They're
issues,
they're
yeah.
very valid issues. But as a community as a whole, I think that this is such a wonderful opportunity. And more importantly, there's going to be a lot more focus on what's going on Staten Island as a whole. You know, when I first came to Staten Island a few years ago while I was working at Snug Harbor, I had never known about the Noble Maritime, or the Staten Island Museum has this amazing archives. Did you know that you can, did you know, here's my little, did you know question mark?
give me.
Did you know, I'm going to plug Staten Island Museum because I love them, and they're not even a client of mine, this is genuine.
Right.
You go to the Staten Island Museum, I think it's Building H, and there's an archive room. And when I talk about archives, they have archives and books and resources that are over 100+ years old. And they give you gloves, and you can sit there and read all the old newspapers and see what was going on. There is no fee. You can speak with Cara at the Staten Island Museum, and this is all free and resources provided to you. I just think it's so phenomenal.
That is terrific. I didn't know that.
It's such a cool, unique spot.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, now they have their new building, Building A, which is in the front of the
At
front
the harbor,
5
right.
at the harbor, and that space is just immaculate. It's beautiful. The Noble Maritime, oh my God, like it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Well, people should know that.
Yeah, the quality of work,
Right.
the expertise, the curatorial work. So all of these beautiful pieces, not just at Snug Harbor, but even the St. George. I mean,
there's a lot going on.
The LGBT Center is right down the street, and they offer a plethora of resources. And so with all of this kind of focus looking on Staten Island, yes, there's going to be Empire Outlets. Yes, there's going to be the Wheel, and that's fabulous. But there's also going to be
lot of
attention.
art and culture.
Yes,
Right. You're
and
absolutely right,
that's to me that's speaks breadth and volumes.
Yeah. Well, not only Snug Harbor, many of the organizations on the North Shore have difficulty bringing the South Shore to the North Shore. North Shore gets a bad rap. A lot of us, like you, came immediately to the North Shore. I was born and raised 8 blocks away from here. You know, the street, as I mentioned before, is named after my dad. It's 5 blocks away from here. So I'm embedded, here. This is my roots are here. And I love the North Shore. It had the homes themselves. If you drive up and down some of the streets, the architecture, it's just so beautiful. There's a lot here, but the people on the South Shore, a lot of them are new people, and a lot of them came specifically there. They didn't come through the North Shore. So it kind of gets a bad rap, but there's a lot of things going on the North Shore.
There's definitely a lot of things, but also even myself, like I'm still learning about the South Shore. Like my husband and I were supposed to take our son, Romano Pepper, to the conference house in a couple of weeks because we learned about more of their programming. There's also the Greenbelt Conservancy.
Yes, there's a lot on the South Shore too.
There's a lot going on.
North Shore will go to the South Shore. South Shore doesn't go to the North Shore.
Well,
that's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem, but a lot of it is just education.
Right. And marketing and getting the word out there.
And in working with a lot of the nonprofits and businesses on Staten Island, whether it's North Shore or South Shore, everyone has the same challenge of limited funds.
That's
so
true.
when I hear like Councilwoman Debbie Rose, when she gives X amount of funding for a variety of programs, or Senator Andrew Lenza gave funding, like that just goes to show that they know the importance and significance of art and culture in their community.
No question.
And that's just one piece of the pie. So everybody's trying to do the best that they can.
Do the best they can with the limited amount
With the
of money.
limited, exactly.
I lived across the street from the conference house for 30 years, my house.
What?
My
You're
last
barely
house.
telling me this now, 5 minutes
my
later?
last house. And my kids grew up in the conference house, in and out. And,
it's beautiful.
I took them sleigh riding there, we picnics, and I've done some shows there for the borough presidents over the years. And they put a tent up or whatever the hell they put up, and I've done stuff over there. But I love that area.
That's actually why I'm going, because one of the borough president's representatives on social media, she posted a photo of the conference house with her and her daughter, and I was like, that looks like a cool spot. Where is that? Social media is amazing.
It is. I love it.
It's amazing, and a lot of organizations can utilize that as a tool to really help promote and market their services, what their grounds look like, programming, et cetera.
A lot of people don't know what it was. We have a limited amount of time, but the conference house was a failed conference to end the Revolutionary War. And Benjamin Franklin, Lord Howe, I think, and Lord Nelson all met there. Staten Island was loyal to the king, not to the revolutionaries. Staten Island was always loyal to the king. It was always conservative and loyal to the king. They met there in secrecy to try to see if they could end the Revolutionary War before it got bloodier, and it did not work. So it was it was owned by John Billop, and it just didn't work. But so it stayed, and that whole area was owned by John Billop. Tottenville, Richmond Valley, that was his area. And the last street, which is Satterley Street, I lived on. Later on, John Satterley bought a section of that Billop thing.
That little cul-de-sac area.
Yeah. So anyway, it goes on and on. We're coming to the end of our moment.
No, we're good. We still got 40 seconds.
We got 40 seconds.
We can talk about a lot. We got 40 seconds. We can talk about anything and everything.
Well, this was great.
Yes, thank you for the
reunion.
reunion.
Yeah, it was a great reunion, and we'll continue. We'll have another reunion 6 months from now, and I'll get the next chapter on how do you say his name? Your son's name?
Romano Pepper.
Romano.
My poor child. Nobody's gonna know his
With
name.
a little grated cheese, we're good. Thanks, Jaclyn.
Thank you so much.
Terrific to have you.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm going to have to say goodnight. It's time to say goodnight. Good afternoon, good evening. I know we're on at Saturday night at 8, and then it could be sprinkled around different times, depending on availability. I want to thank you all for watching. Like I always say, when at the end of the show, thanking the crew here. Terrific job, all of you, and CTV. And I always say, if it is 3 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, it's late. Thank you for listening.
The same rainbows and waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend, Moon River, and me.